Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Where the haters at? Y'all bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got Hex, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at
this. Is Wales only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The guy well told you, Richard done told you, I done told you, Kareem done told you, Maddie done told you, everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. These motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Happy Thursday, people. Hope everybody's having an outstanding day and night so far. We're going to do things a little differently to try to see if we can beat these algos. Because I'm still really trying to make sure I understand what happened last night, right? Because there was a few posts we couldn't see, and it really killed the vibe. So we're going to try to play the game at a higher level. But first, shout out to everybody that's here right now. This is a little early, and that's all right. We're going to get it done. Let's see what's going on here. So people are finding reasons to sell Hex as always. And that's great, because that means more opportunities for other people to buy, because nothing has changed there. So until that changes, not sure what else there is to talk about in regards to Hex, because that's pretty straightforward. Buy it, lock it up, and call it a day. One thing I'll say is you really got to be careful with people that speak in these weird absolutes. And then also be careful with the scam coins, man. They're out there. Jesus, I just clicked on a random coin I never heard of before. Definitely a scam coin. I mean, they don't even try to hide it. It's crazy. PLS looking good. I mean, every time people, get elated in terms of price action, you guys got to understand that just precludes a rollover, right? So every time people can see a freaking 3-cent pump and act like they've been Hexicans for, their entire lives, that's what's going to come after that. So that's something you guys should just understand. I've done streams about it. It's called sentiment. So that's the way the career crumbles. I mean, look, WBTC wrap Bitcoin on PLS is trading at $52. At one point, this was a $210 coin because the Bitcoin ETF and all that shit. So whoever bought at $1.50, not understanding that the time to buy was when nobody was talking about it. You know, you this is how people get washed out, right? And this is stuff that I talk about it all the time when I talk about markets, and people just don't listen. They pretend. They love the FOMO. They don't love to analyze and do things at the right time, which is when nobody else is doing them. So if you have the ability to have that insight and you don't exercise it, it's literally your own damn fault. I really don't know what else to say in that regard. So, you know, keep shooting yourself in the foot, I guess. A la Plaxico Burress. It's always a good look. And it never fails. Every time somebody is talking about a coin, you best believe that's the top. Just the nature of the beast. Nothing else we can do about it. So let's get into these videos, tweets, whatever have you, and see what the hell is going on in the internet today. Because I figured out why things have seemingly slowed down in terms of the news flow, and it's because they got to play defense for real now. Because they don't know what to fucking do. You know, these people have never been on the ropes before. And personally, I'm not a buyer of the the Q thing. I thought it was somewhat legit at one point, but you got to take these things with a grain of salt. And that was one of those things that I always took with a grain of salt because that's too perfect, right? And then I'll play a video here later where some guy talks about it. And I mean, this guy has the nerve to say this shit goes back to pre-JFK. So you sitting here telling me you motherfuckers just sat on your laurels for 70 years? Really? Yeah, and this is why I don't buy that shit. Like, come on, bro. All right, why ain't this shit loading? Damn. There is something going on because they were definitely killing the flow. Okay, we got one. Let's see if we can get the other one. Oh, we got it. We got action. All righty. Let's start off with some positivity to get things flowing right. Because that's what it's all about. Again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's get this party started. As always, I want to start off with a sound check. So let me know if you guys can hear the volume. Sorry. Forgot to click the little button. All right, we should be good to go now. Let me know if you guys hear it.
The more
Cool.
grateful you are for what is, the more things will come to you. The more grateful you are for what is, the more things will come to you. If you honor this moment, what is this moment, then the future, the so-called future, which never comes except as the present moment, will reflect that mindset. To be grateful means an appreciation, an alignment with what is. If you're only grateful when you compare yourself to others who have less, that's not real gratitude. The more powerful thing is gratitude for whatever is this moment, the little things of this moment. The more
There you have it, folks. Be grateful. Let's hear what
that someone
she
with the
has
temperament
to
of
say.
Donald Trump fact check him in real time. Last time at the first debate, we had millions of people fact checking, so I expect we'll have millions more fact checking because, it is, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Hell of a reaction, huh? Begs the question, what's really going on? I mean, I can't call it, right? There's so many layers of the lies. It's almost
Epstein
impossible.
in the coming year. Fast.
Now, pay attention to this video. This is very interesting.
Fascinating, and we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year, and you may be even hearing from him directly. More on that as I'm allowed to tell you. It's all fascinating, and we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that.
It's crazy how this is all blown up, because this is all information that, man, I promise you guys, I knew all this shit in high school. None of this is news. All of this is old. So the fact that it's coming out now, I don't know what to make of it, but I'm not really buying it like that. Like, who's really behind making all of this go on? Right? Because we all know what time it is. This ain't nothing new. So the question is, why now? Right? Why all this Epstein stuff now? Like, look, in my opinion, it's been obvious that Epstein is an agent of some sort, if you know what I mean. Because there's no way in hell this dude was just up there hanging with all these people out of nowhere. Like, if you look into this guy's history, he just popped up out of nowhere. So if you know, you know. If you just finding out now, but you about to find out. Appreciate the love in the chat. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you guys are liking them, because I actually like doing these streams. They're interesting, because now you guys get to see. You guys get to see what's really going on. It's not just people making it up. You're seeing it from the sources themselves, which are the people that are relaying the information to the public, but are being suppressed at the same time. So let's get into it.
They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to
Do y'all remember that? I do.
suck my penis in front of all my people at my age. They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo! Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get that?
I told him no. What y'all do? And this is why when I walk in a room, heads go down. Behind my back, I'm nothing. I'm just a regular old comedian that's bitter and jealous. But in my face, no. The king has walked in, and they have to respect it, only because I've not taken the shortcuts. I've not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves. They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before.
There you have it, folks. Straight from the horse's caboose. Let's see if this one loads nicely. All right. Now give me a second, folks. Just want to reorientate my screenage here, and we'll get right back to it. All righty. This is a rather long one, so let's see what's going on.
Words that are about to come out of my mouth. Oh, silly.
I haven't seen this one.
Started. Guys, Tiki Talk, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. We're just goofing around. All things stated here are purely speculation. Just having fun. You are going to want to see this, because there is a very good chance, at least for the next few days, you will not see this anywhere else but right here. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure what part of this story bugs me most. The fact that we actually now live in a world where something like this could happen. The fact that we actually live in a world where something like this could happen, but at this point, none of us will even be shocked. Or the fact that something like this could happen in our world, and not a single news media has broke this story, not at all. In fact, if you Google search it, it is quite a difficult find. which is all that much more suspicious with a story of this kind of size, this magnitude. And yet here we are. Hang on to your britches. It's going to get real. A couple of days in Miami, Florida, at a mall, the local police were dispatched to the mall for an argument, a fight that broke out between juveniles. Juveniles, they say, had sticks and fireworks. Oh my. But ultimately, the call, what they claim was the call, the reason for the police officers to arrive at the scene, was due to a fight that had broken out between juveniles who had sticks and fireworks. But Auntie, why do you care if that's on the news? That isn't a big deal. No, my friend, no, it's not. It is definitely not that big of a deal. I agree with you. And it is definitely, hands down, not a big enough deal for the local Miami Police Department to show up on the scene just like this. Right? That seems like a lot of officers to show up. But my friends, that is not anywhere near all that came. And once you understand and you hear the eyewitnesses' stories, I believe you will at that point understand a little bit better as to why so many police officers, probably 100, along with choppers, black choppers from the PD, patrolling the scene from above. And according to witnesses, eyewitnesses there, the Miami police was not dispatched there for a juvenile fight. And the obvious need for such an enormous police presence was far more sinister than what we've been told. As multiple witnesses claimed to have seen, I can't believe I'm going to say this, creatures that stood 8 to 10 feet tall, walking outside and even inside of the mall. And the pew-pews that were reported, and even the pew-pews you might hear in some of the videos, had nothing to do with the juvenile fight. According to these witnesses, it was actually the mall goers shooting to protect themselves from these 8 to 10 foot tall creatures in self-defense.
Yeah, no, that's why I came right here.
But wait, it gets better. Along with the ridiculously high number of police officers that arrived on the scene and the helicopter flying above, apparently after this incident was phoned into the police, the black PD helicopters were the only things flying that night in the Miami sky. As the Miami airport was shut down, still no flights going or coming at Miami International, only one PD helicopter patrolling the area. The absolute lack of this story anywhere is absolutely driving me mad. On my Google search, I found nothing. I found crickets. Ironic. Even my ex, not my ex, even X let me down. Well, my ex let me down too, but that's a whole nother story. As when I searched on X, this is what I found. No results for people shooting at Miami Mall, 8 to 9 feet tall creatures. Okay, valid. Let's remove the obvious. Do another search without the 8 to 9 foot tall creatures. Well, now that's suspicious. Still no results for Miami Mall shooting January 2024. Now that's very suspicious because judging by the size of the police presence, the helicopter, but wait, there's more. You would think even X would have one post about it, but nothing. Thank goodness for social media, though, because where would we be in situations like this when the media chooses not to report if we didn't have incredible people going to social media to post details about it themselves? Can someone confirm they've cut the police scanner? Check flight tracker. Doesn't look like any flights leaving or coming into MIA. You can see the helicopter doing loops. Yes, they cut the scanners. Multiple people claim they saw 8 to 10 foot tall aliens or very tall zombies, and it caused shoppers panic. There are now black helicopters flying and everything is blocked off. Power has also been cut in a few blocks and at the mall. So you're going to tell me that the police literally cut the public's access to the police scanners, all because some juveniles are fighting with sticks? Okay. And they're going to cut the power, not only to surrounding areas, but also the power to the mall itself. So much so that 61,290 homes are without power at that time. On Reddit, we found anyone following what happened in Miami last night, apparently mass sighting of 7 to 10 foot tall creatures. Flights halted, police radio cut off, and helicopters patrolling. So are you really telling me that they're hoping, they're praying that we are all going to just believe this? Miami police, a large fight broke out involving several juveniles, some of whom may have been armed with some kind of sticks. Police are still continuing their investigation at this time. Okay, you know who else is doing their investigation at this time? Me and the rest of the world. You cannot be serious when you tell me you're going to cut the power to the mall and multiple homes in Miami, shut down a whole airport, no planes in and no planes out, have hundreds of police officers storming the mall, rushing to the scene, and black PD helicopters scouring and patrolling the area from above, all simply because of a juvenile fight where some of the juveniles were armed with some kind of sticks. No, sir, I kindly reject this. I do not believe this at all. So, guys, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Because to you, does this look like the type of police presence that would ever be warranted or required for a fight between juveniles with sticks?
What did you hear?
Gunshots.
Oh, that's what that was? I didn't hear that. I just heard screaming.
Yeah, no, that's why I came running.
Order filled. Order filled.
Yeah. Because of all of that fanfare, that police presence was really over juveniles fighting with sticks, and I was a Miami citizen, I would be demanding my taxpayer dollar back. Something much larger, much bigger, far more giant and sinister happened there that night in Miami at that mall. And just like the witnesses all stated, it wasn't kids with sticks. That looks way more like the response to a threat of 8 to 10 feet tall creatures, whether aliens or zombies or Nephilim, and mall goers having to respond by pew-pewing to defend and to protect themselves. But that's just me. What do you think? Y'all, I'm here to tell you, God told us that in the days when Jesus will come back, it will be just like the days of Noah. But I think a lot of people are misinterpreting that scripture or overlooking one massive detail, one big detail, a giant detail when it comes to the days of Noah. Sure, they were eating and drinking and marrying and sinning and fornication. But hasn't man been sinning that way, well, since the beginning of sin? The one thing that was different about the days of Noah, different from all of the regular days filled with sin of man, there were giants in those days. And according to the Bible, and there were giants after. There were giants even after the Genesis flood. So when the Bible tells us when Jesus returns, it will be just like the days of Noah, I think, my friends, that is a warning to all of us that when we are in the end of days, there will be giants. And perhaps that is exactly what they saw that night in the mall. The 8 to 10 foot creatures. Perhaps they, my friends, were the Nephilim.
That's some wild stuff. And to be honest, I don't know enough to comment, but I remember that Miami was lit up that night, and we definitely haven't heard nothing since, which is interesting because you would think that, that'd be something people would be interested in, but apparently they're keeping that hush hush. So we shall see. More will definitely come from that. Now, something I just wanted to go over. Trump got indicted 91 times. Oh, they tried to indict him 91 times. That's what this 91 charges means. However, none for any of the Clintons. Never mind Bill. Any of them. And from the transcripts, did Jeffrey ever talk to you about Bill Clinton? He said that one time that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. Let's see what we have over here. Some Q&A between a lawyer, some other lawyer, and somebody that is just named the witness. And I'm guessing that the lawyer asking the questions is not Miss McCauley, right? It's probably this Miss Benninger lady. So we'll start with the line 2. And an increase in corresponding to massages you were giving to guests, correct? And that's a yes. Asking whoever the witness is, did any of the guests for whom you gave a massage mention that they expected something sexual? No. They ask you to engage in sexual contact and you refuse. Objection. The other side's attorney. Witness, no. Continues to answer anyway. Then the other lawyer continues. Marvin Minsky, I don't know that. George Lucas, no. Donald Trump, no. Did you ever massage Donald Trump? No. Sorry, I have to ask, but did you ever have sex with Alan Dershowitz in the back of the limousine with Virginia and Jeffrey present? Objection. The witness, absolutely not. So there we go. Let's see what Dershowitz has to say about it.
Feminist groups and the radicals, and the point I do want to make is that I understand all the feminist groups and the radicals who think this is the worst thing in the world, that anybody ever had any contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Where are all those radical feminists when it comes to the Hamas rapes of young Jewish girls, sexual abuse, beheadings? They are quiet. They are silent. The incredible hypocrisy of the Me Too movement. Me Too, except if you're a Jew. And I want to have a list of all the radical feminists who are pushing hard, and I understand that, to get all these names revealed. And I want to know how many of them have ever actually condemned Hamas for the rapes that we now know occurred and the murders that occurred. How many have been silent, and how many, like the national law point I do want to make is that I understand all the feminist groups and the radicals who think.
It's a very bold guy. Very bold guy. Imagine being accused of pedophilia and you thinking that being Jewish has anything to do with it. Imagine that. I mean, you gotta be pretty fucking insane. Let's see what's going on here. Apparently, New Zealand natives' speech in Parliament. I wonder where they were when they were imposing all them unlawful ass lockdowns, though. What was your speech then? I was looking for it. Did not find it. Let's switch up the pace a little bit.
An ad for that specific cruise.
This is about the surveillance economy. That's an actual thing, in case you're not aware. And, let's learn about it.
Yeah, Charisse, my friend and I were talking about a specific cruise that she went on, and just a few minutes later, an ad for that specific cruise popped up into my Instagram feed. So it made me wonder, if they're not listening, how could that happen? Even members of Congress questioned Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg about it.
You're talking about this conspiracy theory that gets passed around, that we listen to what's going on your microphone and use that for ads. Right. We don't do that.
I wanted to test it out, so we started with Instagram. With my Instagram app open on my phone, Charisse and I started talking about all kinds of stuff.
Tell me about your trip. Where'd you go? I think we did brunch at my Airbnb that I rented, and it was actually a gorgeous Airbnb.
I have not searched Airbnb on my phone. I don't have the app, and it only took 20 minutes into our conversation for this to happen.
There's an ad for Airbnb.
Coincidence?
Okay, so I don't see any advertisements for what we have on our piece of paper. So what we're going to do now is we're going to close all the browsers. We're going to close everything, and then we're going to talk about this subject for a couple of minutes, just a minute or two. We're just going to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about it like I'm talking to a friend. All right, so dog toys. Well, I'm going to be searching for, I want to buy some dog toys for my dog, okay? Because I love my dog, and he deserves all the best toys in the world. So maybe we can find him some really nice toys for dogs. I think that'd be nice. Maybe some Kongs would be good, or some plush animals, for maybe some dog toys near me. Maybe some black or red ones. I don't know what colors dogs care about, but they probably like colored dog toys from time to time. A weasel or something, or a dog bed would be good. Just something he can chew on, dog toys near me, or affordable dog toys. That'd be really good for me, because as a consumer, I'm looking for the most affordable items that I can get for my pooch. And dog toys are what I'm the most interested in right now. If I were to buy something right now, it would be dog toys. Let's go ahead and get back online, and we'll go back to fark.com and let's take a look. Oh my God! It's right there. Holy shit. Everybody burn your microphones. Oh no. There's dog toys right here. So let's click on that ad and see where it takes us. Pricefalls.com. Dog toys. So foxnews.com right there. Same advertisement. That's incredible. No way. Remind that. Dog toy ads again. And what is this? Canine Advantix from PetSmart. Oh, wow. Well, everybody. Oh my God. Let's click on that advertisement again. Chewy.com. Yep. That's ridiculous. Let's do a couple more websites. PetSmart, Kongs. I was talking about Kongs, black and red. No way. That's insane. Oh, that's enough for me. I'm done. I'm done with the internet. All right. Just good night, everybody. That's too much for me.
Well, there you go.
Order filled.
Whoops. Sorry about that, guys. You can disregard that sound. Let's see what we have next for you. Reminder. Oh, speak of the devil.
Employer Robert Maxwell, owner of the Daily Mirror. You say that maintained that it was your employer Robert Maxwell, owner of the Daily Mirror. You say that he was an Israeli agent, and as was his daughter.
He was not my employer. I would like to correct that.
Okay.
We worked together with him.
And you say that his daughter Ghislaine also, though, worked for Israel, and it was Robert Maxwell who introduced Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell way before the 1990s, as mainstream media has reported.
Correct.
I suppose what the most alarming allegations that you've been making are that the entire Epstein operation was a honey trap operation to entrap politicians, policymakers, celebrities, people in the media eye, basically to become Israel's assets.
Correct. That it became basically an intelligence operation to entrap different politicians.
Well, there you have it. I think, this is more Cat Williams.
You know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years? If what I say ain't the case. It's a cabal. It's a consortium. They rock with who they rock with, don't with who they don't. But I'm not scared of being the competition any more than you were when you lined up across from a superior team. Yeah, on paper, they're a better team.
Right.
They have all the assets and resources and we don't. But let us get on the line, boy, and see if that factors in. I guarantee you it won't.
Wow.
Because Shannon Sharp got to be a different person than that other person.
Absolutely.
And he always was. That doesn't change when I change teams. That remains the same. That's how a legacy is built. So all of these shortcut takers, they've canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo. Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get there.
I told him no. What y'all do? And this is why when I walk in a room, heads go down. Behind my back, I'm nothing. I'm just a regular old comedian that's bitter and jealous. But in my face, no. The king has walked in and they have to respect it only because I've not taken the shortcuts. I've not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about.
Are you related to Luda?
No. So there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing. And it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Cat Williams. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done it. Remember I told you that if I say that, it applied to 7 people? Yes. It's part of what they give you. Okay? I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money did they give? 200?
Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
200 million. I might get me one of the more women look the same.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't going to wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. It's all right.
There you have it. More evidence. And I mean, it's crazy because it's like right now, all of this shit is coming out at the same time. I mean, you could almost say that all of this is scripted, and it could very well be, right? This is why people say, you know, we're in a simulation, because all of this is not new. This is all old information. So this here is apparently from October 15th, 2020.
I ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing about it.
They believe it is
If
a
you'd like
satanic
me to
cult run by the deep
study the
state.
subject, I'll tell you what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia, and I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it.
There's not a satanic pedophile cult
no
they run
idea.
by.
I know
You
nothing
don't know
about
that? Okay.
No, I don't know
You
that.
just
And
this
neither
week.
do you know that?
Okay, just let me ask you about QAnon. It is this.
This one's about crimes against children, so pay attention.
On page 294 of the report, Bobby, there's this, you know, it kind of jumps out of the page at you. It's titled Hillary Clinton and Foundation Crime Against Children. And it's referencing all the emails that were on this Wiener laptop. And there was an effort to, I guess, sequester certain emails away from the probe. You can see, Coleman's notes from October 4th contain the following entry: Anthony Weiner, unrelated. Anthony Weiner texting 15-year-old sexually explicit initial analysis of laptop, thousands of emails, etc. but they had a conversation about which emails would be allowed to be looked at in this case and which would be, set aside. And that also raises a lot of questions. I mean, Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton exchanged thousands of emails, apparently, that were not, I don't think they were looked at in this investigation at all. And Bobby, your reaction to where we are here?
Yeah, I think that specific question, I think, has to do with the search warrant. So the New York office of the FBI, who actually initially got the search warrant on that laptop, it was for that sexual crimes case against Anthony Weiner. And that had, specificity requirements of the warrant say you can only look for certain things. So they were looking for emails of that type. When it was transferred down to Washington for the Clinton email, they were looking for different things. And that's why the call went to New York, from New York to Washington 2 weeks later, saying, hey, did you guys get your warrant? You need to get a warrant for the stuff you want to look for on that laptop. And to Saul's point, it's my opinion, this is only my opinion, that I think they were sitting on that laptop and they thought they could sit on it till after the election. But when New York called down and said, what are you doing with this? Why haven't you gotten a warrant yet for your stuff? That panicked them. They then went and told Comey. I don't even think Comey knew, because he claims not to have known, but there's no reason why he didn't know.
He
didn't
knew.
Go to McCabe and say, why did you wait 2 weeks before you brought this to me?
Come on. There's this, it kind of jumps out of the page at you. It's titled Hillary Clinton and Foundation, Crime Against Children.
These people are sick. These people are sick.
Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them.
Whoa.
That panicked them. They then went and told Comey. I don't even think Comey knew, because he claims not to have known, but there's no reason why he didn't know. Didn't go to McCabe and say, why did you wait 2 weeks before you brought this to me?
Come on.
A reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. As a result, although the Department of Justice makes final decisions on matters like this, we are expressing to Justice our view that no charges are appropriate in this case.
Look at those kids' faces. Those are not happy kids. Period. Crazy stuff, people. And people out here acting like it's not going on. That's what's crazier to me. So, we can talk all the shit we want. But at the end of the day, the real bad people are those that know what's going on and do nothing. So I don't buy all that fucking cute shit.
The paper we're putting out today is saying we should really distinguish between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. So both here at home, if we do have to adjust some of the freedoms because of the rising pressure from new variants, then it's important at least to ensure that those people who
This is from June 2021, and this is, of course, one of the top criminals, one of the top war criminals of our lifetime, Tony Blair. Listen in.
are vaccinated have the maximum freedom they can. And I think that could also be done for travel as well.
Is it acceptable to turn down a vaccine, do you think?
Unless you've got a good medical reason, my view very clearly is no. And I think that's why it's important to give people a real incentive to get vaccinated, because if you are vaccinated, the evidence is absolutely clear. It reduces the risk of transmission and it reduces the risk of hospitalization or death. The paper
Well, I think we all know better by now. So let's just keep it moving.
50,000 drugs, pharmaceuticals, and PDR, the physician's desk reference, they have access to treat people in America. There's new ones coming out all the time. They're always bragging about how many billions of dollars worth of research they spend every year to find new drugs. If you take out the 500 antibiotics, that still leaves 249,500 drugs. There's not a single one of those designed to cure anything. There's not a single drug in the PDR except maybe antibiotics to cure a strep throat. Other than that, there's not a single drug in the PDR that cures anything. All designed to milk your insurance policies. They're all designed to milk Medicare and Medicaid because there's no laws requiring pharmaceutical companies to manufacture drugs that cure, even though they could. Well, there's 250,000 drugs, pharmaceuticals, in PDR, the physician's desk reference. They have access to treat.
That is what is called Western medicine, folks. Don't buy into it. Buy into natural medicine. Fixing bones and shit is not Western medicine. That's just regular shit. So let's check this tweet out. Elon responds to our latest video report showing a worker at the Refugee Welcome Center in Phoenix offering us a bribe. Big time. Caught red-handed. Ouch. $415 million in taxpayer funding goes to the 501c3 who runs the center at 12 East Apache Street in Phoenix. Not from Phoenix, so I have no idea. But the evidence is evident. So that's pretty much how that's going down. Check it out. You have contributors, Bureau of Population, Refugees and Migration, which is a bureau of the federal government. I wonder who they fall under. I've never seen this acronym before. Department of Health and Human Services. We all know who they are. They were big players in the Rona scheme. So there you go, folks. More evidence of what's going on. You know, they don't hide anything, folks. They really don't. So you should probably start paying attention. Let's keep moving. Oops. This is everybody's favorite guy giving a Jewish spy, Jonathan Pollard, a welcome, a warm welcome. Israeli politician and American Jews then spent decades lobbying for his release. Pollard landed on a private plane provided by Sheldon Adelson. All right. And this guy was Trump's biggest donor. So if you don't know who Jonathan Pollard is, he was one of the most damaging spies in U.S. history. Odds are that guy probably had something to do with, you know what.
What a moment.
Go home. Back home. Now,
what a fucking joke. Hope you guys can see the pitifulness in that. Now let's check out the power of cayenne pepper.
Circulatory stimulants there. Cayenne pepper moves blood. It's one of the best circulatory stimulants there is. It's not a nervous system stimulant like your caffeines or your tobacco. It's a blood stimulant. And when you consider that the life of the flesh is in the blood, cayenne pepper is a wonderful healer. And you can put cayenne pepper with any other herb and it'll intensify its action. So let's begin by looking at how you can use cayenne pepper internally. By the way, how would you take it? Well, a medicinal dose may be 1/4 teaspoon in a little bit of water and throw it down. Won't it burn? Well, I prefer to call it tingle. It might feel like it's burning, but it will never burn. Internally, it'll heal a stomach ulcer because what the cane does, it causes a constriction of any open blood vessels. So just for a moment, let's look at externally. If you have a cut, you pour cayenne pepper into it and it'll stop the bleeding. Broke my arm and my bones were sticking out, I'd be very thankful for a doctor to perform an operation to get my arm working again. But there are lots of little tiny bits and pieces that the natural remedies will fix. So any cut, put the cayenne pepper on it. Yes, it will hurt, but it's already hurting, and remember, it'll settle down, and then bind it up because it'll constrict the blood vessels and cause them to shut. Now, internally, if there's a bleeding ulcer and you take cayenne pepper, won't it hurt? It'll give a little bit of a tingle, but it will never hurt, meaning it will never cause an ulcer. In the book Jethro Kloss, there's a doctor that says it's impossible to cause a lesion with cayenne pepper. Another doctor said, you cannot abuse cayenne pepper. It's impossible to abuse it. It's actually a very safe herb. It will never harm. You can also use it internally if someone has a heart attack. No need for aspirin. And by the way, it has been shown today that aspirin causes brain bleeds. This is very, very safe with no side effects. Now, if someone is on warfarin or aspirin and they're a little concerned, I would suggest start taking 1/4 teaspoon 3 times a day. And most people, if they're on warfarin, they have to be tested, every few weeks or every month. And the doctor will say, your blood's getting so thin, we can reduce your medication.
Bam. How about that? That's wild. I didn't know all of that. Always useful info on this here internets. Let's see what's next. Our southern border with Mexico is being invaded with people from China. Make it make sense.
China. USA. China. 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 Nepal. China. 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 China, 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 to China, 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 over China, 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 yeah, China, 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 and China. Wow. USA, China, 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 Nepal, China, 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 China.
That's crazy. Everybody's coming over here. Check this out.
This is Chris Hume with the Lancaster Patriot. I'm currently outside of Amos Miller's organic farm operation here in Birmingham, Pennsylvania. There are currently 2 marked state trooper vehicles here, 3 other official use vehicles. I attempted to enter the building inside. A state trooper turned me away and said that they're executing a search warrant on Amos Miller's operations here. I've not been able to make contact with Amos Miller yet, but once again, Amos Miller's property here in Birmingham, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Law enforcement is once again harassing Amos Miller for serving his neighbors. And here we have a search warrant being executed, not allowing media to enter the building. Stay tuned. This is a developing story. We will have updates as we have a search warrant being executed on Amos Miller's property right now as I speak. This is Chris Hume with the Lancaster Patriot. I'm currently outside of Amos Miller's organic.
Well, there you have it, people. Try to provide a good service to your community, and that's a problem. Definitely in Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure it's no different in New York, so you have to be careful. Because if they're not getting their cut, you could be calling them to your door. And yeah, people be snitching, so stop pretending you got friends. This will probably be the last one for the night because this is going to push us over an hour. But as a matter of fact, let me see if there's something a little. I think we've beaten the Epstein drum to death for today, so we'll definitely keep it moving on this one. Yeah, I guess we can do this.
Even ambulances have been shelled.
Now, this is from RT, Russia Today. They're basically banned in the U.S., in case you don't know. So they're pretty valid. Check it out, guys.
Truth history has exposed time and time again. All men are created equal, but some are more equal than others, because only some deserve life, only some deserve justice, and only some deserve your tears.
They're destroying critical infrastructure, which provides millions of people across Ukraine with drinking water, gas to keep them from freezing to death, and electricity. Civilian buses, cars, even ambulances have been shelled.
We can never let the crimes Russia's committing become our new normal. Bombing schools and hospitals and apartment buildings to rubble is not normal.
We stand strongly for the proposition that Israel has not only the right, but the obligation to defend itself and to do everything possible to make sure that this October 7th can never happen again.
It's hard to look at what he's doing in Ukraine, what his forces are doing in Ukraine, and think that any ethical, moral individual could justify that. This is war. It is combat. It is bloody. It is ugly, and it's going to be messy. And innocent civilians are going to be hurt. We're not going to react in near real time to every event. Israel has a right and responsibility to defend itself, and we're going to make sure they have the tools and capabilities to do that.
The death toll in Gaza rose. 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. Every day, the death toll rose. But it was never quite high enough to move Kirby and co to tears. The thousands of orphans, the carpet-bombed homes, the scarring tales of the unfolding horrors.
Gaza is becoming a graveyard for children.
We cannot see more children with the wounds of war, with the burns, with the shrapnel littering their body, with the broken bones. Inaction by those with influence is allowing the killing of children. This is a war on children.
How do you assess what's happening right now in terms of humanitarian needs in Gaza?
The worst ever, Christiane, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, I started off in my 20s dealing with the Khmer Rouge, and you remember how bad that was, the killing fields and so forth. But 68% of the people killed in Gaza are women and children. They stopped counting the numbers of children killed after 4,500 had been counted.
That just didn't quite do it for those self-appointed champions of human rights in London, Washington, Brussels. Dry eyes all round. Then a moment came when the piles of bodies just grew too high to be ignored, and the goalposts changed. It turns out the dead are ranked according to who, how, when, and why.
Unlike Russia and Ukraine, and unlike what Hamas did on the 7th of October, the killing of civilians is not a war aim of Israel. I'm not denying that it's happening. Now, of course it is, and it's tragic. But it's not the goal of Israeli forces to go out and deliberately take innocent civilian life. And they have tried to make efforts to minimize that.
Well, someone get the Israelis some target practice, please. Because by the UN's own admission, civilian casualties in Ukraine, after almost 2 years of war, and despite President Putin apparently aiming at innocents, are lower than what Tel Aviv managed to achieve by mistake in just a few weeks. But then again, who can trust any of these numbers anyway?
They say to me is I have no notion that the Palestinians are telling the truth about how many people are killed. I'm sure innocents have been killed, and it's the price of waging a war. I think we should be incredibly careful. I think not we, the Israelis should be incredibly careful to be sure that they're focusing on going after the folks that are propagating this war against Israel. And it's against their interests when that doesn't happen. But I have no confidence in the number that the Palestinians are using.
So it wasn't enough that Gazans were stripped of dignity in life, caged in a sliver of land just 25 miles long and 5 miles wide. They were then even stripped of the dignity to die. The callous second-ratedness with which Western politicians have, by and large, treated the Palestinians is now undeniable. Remember Ursula von der Leyen preaching about the crime of targeting civilian infrastructure?
Targeted attacks on civilian infrastructure with a clear aim to cut off men, women, children of water, electricity, and heating. With the winter coming, these are acts of pure terror, and we have to call it as such. This is a moment to stay the course, and we will back Ukraine for as long as it takes.
Turns out that only applies in Ukraine. Gazans can be starved, denied water, electricity, medicine.
We're imposing a complete siege in Gaza. There will be no electricity, no food, no water, no fuel. Everything will be closed. We're fighting against human animals and we're acting accordingly.
And all Ursula will do is preach Israel's right to self-defense. Remember the doors Europe opened to Ukrainian refugees? Free housing, free transport, free healthcare, free schooling, free clothing. But for Gazans, nothing but closed borders. With only the clothes on their back, the 2 million displaced could do nothing but inch further south along the Gaza Strip as the bombs dropped closer and closer. Remember the flood of politicians to Kiev with their tearful faces and promises to stand together? Remember Ursula making the pilgrimage to Butcher? Well, no such visitors to the mass grave in Khan Yunis. No helping hand to the newborns unplugged from incubators, and certainly no C-section and dignity kits like the ones the EU delivered to Ukrainian hospitals, because apparently all babies should have a fair start in life. But perhaps none of this surprises you. After all, it had been made clear long ago that not all wars are equal.
Me, I'm sorry, it's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
Remorse and the royal treatment are reserved for an elite few who have the right look, it seems. Palestinians just don't have the right look. Neither did the 300,000 Iraqis, the 50,000 Afghanis, the 380,000 Yemenis. But again, perhaps none of this surprises you. After all, people like this are shaping US foreign policy.
And we're going to put big signs here that say this guy believes in Hamas, but you're a terrorist. You support terrorism.
Listen, go. I'm not support something.
You support terrorism.
I'm not some. Go. I'm just working here.
You're a terrible person. If we killed 4,000 Palestinian kids, you know what? It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
Go.
Oh yes, 2023 proved yet again that this is a world of haves and have-nots. The haves have it all. Money, influence, powerful backers. The have-nots are stripped of everything but hope that maybe, just maybe, someday, someone, somewhere will shed a tear for them too.
Man. Well, there you have it, folks. That's what's going on the internet today. I would surmise that we're going to continue to see more heat fall on evil, but I'm not entirely convinced that good is behind it. I suspect that we might be going from one extreme to the other. So exercise caution accordingly, because no extreme is good. Peace. This is Wales Only. Glad you guys can make it out. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. That's it. That's the secret. The
Godwell told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. These motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. I mean, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you.